Hello everyone, welcome to 3ddesignacademy.com. In this lesson, I'm going to be going over fillet situation. Now, this is the model that one of my viewers has sent me, and as you can see, there is a fillet going over the other. Now, in general, you always want to have the larger one flow first before doing the smaller one, but in this case, it's reversed. And I do understand why, because this smaller one actually blends these surfaces together, which makes it filleting a little bit easier if it were to go through it this way. But of course, right now, if you look at this, because of the difference in size, trying to align a larger one to a smaller one, that does create a lot of problems. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to resolve this. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete some of these fillet pieces over here, and let's just take a quick look at how big these are. Okay, so it looks like it's they're a quarter length of 50. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to undo some of these, and I'm going to go ahead and undo this one as well. Now I'm just going to concentrate on this area. So let's take a look. Okay, so first of all, I think I need to delete the construction history over here, and let's untrim this piece over here like this. And of course, I'm going to untrim this one over here as well. Actually, you know what? Let's delete the COS over here like that. And let's go ahead. Looks like there's a COS over here as well. So let's just delete those. And I'm going to go ahead and just trim this one so that I can just concentrate on this one. Okay. So looks like the primaries are pretty good. Now that said, however, this is a degree 3 span surface. So I'm wondering if it's a built using rational flags. If it is, that might create some problems, but I'll have to take a look. But before that, I am going to build a larger one first. But in order to do that, I'm going to split this surface over here. So let's go ahead and do that first. So I'm just going to delete that one, and let's go ahead and untrim this surface over here like this. I'm going to untrim this one over here like this, and let's go ahead and delete. Oh, actually, before that, let me just go ahead and take a quick measurement. Okay, so it looks like this is 15. All right, so I'm just going to delete the COS over there. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to intersect this piece over here. And let's go ahead and create a division between the two. So basically, I'm splitting this surface so that I can put a fillet over here, and I'm just going to let this one run through. All right, so I think this shape is pretty good. So let's go ahead and project over here like this. And I'm just going to, I think view should be fine. And let's go ahead and divide. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. I'm just going to intersect over here as well. Let's go ahead and divide these two like this. And whatever piece is remaining after that, if there is, let's go ahead and delete that one. All right. So now let's put the fillets back in. Now I'm going to split this one. Keep. And this one, I think it's a little bit large. So let's go ahead and trim that one too. Okay. So it looks like it's not going to trim, but that's okay. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a fillet over here. So I'm going to turn, well, no explicit control, modify range. Okay, so I'm just going to reset the whole thing. All right, so it's going to be chord, it's going to be G2, it's going to be 50 to keep the size the same. And for this one, let's just go ahead and I'm just going to make it default for all of it. All right, so let's go ahead and put a fillet here. And for this one, I'm going to say extend on this side, and I'm just going to say edge align on this side. Okay, and let's take a look. Okay, so the shape is okay. I mean, the CV structure, that's understandable just because it's, well, the intersection is, I'm pretty sure, like that. But let's see if I can do a Bezier. And let's just make it edge align over here. I'm going to say extend over here. And for the interior, let me see if I can do edge align. Now this is being split into 3 pieces, which probably isn't good. Well, if that's the case, I'm just going to leave it at default, and let's actually turn Bezier off. I would like to keep things a little bit simpler. All right, so I think that's good, and let's go ahead and do the same thing over here. So I'm just going to select these 2 surfaces over here, making sure that the direction is good. Let's go ahead and do this. Now, as you can see over here with the quarter fillet, looks like the sizing is a little bit different. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extend this back a little bit, and let's just connect the two by building a custom fillet. So I'm just going to extend this back over here, and actually, you know what, let's just line it up at the isoparm like this. And I'm going to delete this COS over here, delete this one over here. I'm just going to reproject like this, and I'm going to say normal. Okay, so that should be good. Now, I don't really care about the cleanliness of this one. I just want to work on this area. So now I'm going to grab a degree 3 curve over here, and I'm going to grab a degree 3 curve over here. Okay, so let's go ahead and align. So I'm just going to align it over here. It's going to be G2 on one side. Do the same thing over here. It's going to be G2 on the other side as well. So for this one, let's go ahead and I'm just going to use the curve instead of using a COS, and let's see. Okay, so I'm just going to say one is going to, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to leave one as is. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to use project, and I'm going to align it over here like this. Okay, so it looks like it's failing curvature a little bit, but I'll have to take a look at why. And I'm going to do the same thing over here, but this time I'm going to use normal. Actually, you know what? It looks like it's splitting a little bit, so let's try view. Okay, so I probably need a little bit more degrees, so let's go ahead and do 4. Oh, there it is. That works perfectly. All right. So that looks pretty good. So let's go ahead, and I'm going to delete the curve over here and this curve over here. I'm just going to go ahead and delete the construction history over here. So now I'm just going to trim this piece over here, and I'm going to trim that piece over here. And let's go ahead and do a fillet. So I'm just going to, well, let's do the easy one first. So I'm just going to set this to existing theoretical, and the reason I do that, oh, actually, let me show you why. So let me just try with the chord first, and before I do anything, let me just go ahead and save like this, and I'm just going to pick these ones over here like this, and let's put that in. Now with the quarter fillet, it's going to, well, it looks like it's going to stop over here, and if I were to do edge line on this side, let's see if it builds, and it goes like this. Now with the new edition of 2023.1, which is the version I have right now. If you look at this, they did add something called the existing theoretical and build theoretical. What this does is with the quarter fillet, it depends on well, basically it's trying to build a fillet that and it's trying to calculate it depending on the curvature or how the radius that the surface has. Now, in this case, because the radius over here is flat, well, basically it's curvature to this one, it doesn't know how to read it. But with an existing theoretical, what it does is it takes a distance from the theoretical here and just offsets it in probably an equal amount on either side and builds it. So in a situation like this, it builds a lot better. So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to say existing theoretical. I'm going to say update. And let's see how that does. Okay, and there it is. So this would be the easy version. So there it is. The fillet looks good. Now, continue probably needs a little bit of improvement, but as you can see, it builds it. And the highlight is a lot better than before, and it just flows nicely. Now, of course, you'd have to fill this in. And you probably also, I think the interior with edge line is probably a little bit better just for the flow. But of course, you might run into a situation like this, so you might want to, well, pick a battle. All right, so that is an easier route, but of course, I don't like spans, so let's see if I can do a little bit cleanup and make some improvements. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy and paste this one over here, delete the construction history, and let's put it in a different layer. So I'm just going to assign it there, and let's do this. All right, so first of all, I'm just going to undo this one. And I think part of the reason this surface has so many spans is I think because of this one. Like I said, I think this might be actually constructed from a rational flag surface. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to split this into two. So first of all, let me just delete the construction history over here. And just in case, I'm just going to copy and paste these ones over here, and I'm going to hide it I'm going to create a high layer, and this one will be version 1. Let's put it over here like this. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use detach to split this so that just a single span surface, because right now it's 3 degrees and 3 spans, which I prefer not to use. So I'm just going to do this. And did it split? Yes, it did. And let's see if I can do a surface fillet over here. Okay, so same dimensions, it's going to be just edge align. Okay, so still quite a lot of spans, but I'm going to see if I can do a little bit cleanup. And let's try Bezier. And well, it's not super clean, but it's definitely cleaner than before, but I think I can do a step better. So let's see if I can get it. So I'm just going to, first of all, just set it to edge align like this. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to do a fit curve over here. Now, the primary surface that this one is based on is a degree 3. So I'm just going to, well, use degree 3. Same thing on the other side like this. I'm just going to do degree 3 over here. And of course, this fillet is already established. So let's go ahead and just duplicate this edge over here. And I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this edge over here like this. Okay, so delete the construction history on the curve. And I'm just going to undo this surface over here. And I'm going to make a square based on this. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. If I can pick the curve. Like that. Okay, so that looks pretty good. And let's just take a look at the shape over here. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to align project like this. And that's curvature there. And that's curvature there. Much better than before. Okay, so I don't need the curves anymore. Actually, I don't need any of the curves there. So let's go ahead and trim this one like this. And I'm going to trim this one over here like that. Okay, so much cleaner than before. And let's go ahead and delete the construction history. And let's fill this in. So same thing. I'm just going to say edge align. Now, because the boundaries I'm using, well, existing theoretical looks like it fits perfectly over here. And I'm going to just do Bezier just to clean up the CV structure. I do prefer the CV structure of Bezier. So let's go ahead and do that and delete the construction history there. Okay, so this looks pretty good. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to check the continue over here. It's curvature. This is curvature. This is curve. Oh, that is not curvature. All right, if that's okay, so let's go ahead and make it so. There it is. I'm going to make sure that it's edge. All right, so now I'm going to cut this up so that I can actually build a square. But when you're doing this, you have to be a little bit careful. Now, first of all, let me just trim this over here. And I'm going to create a surface to split this. Now, the essential construction method is the same thing as creating a ball corner, but obviously I don't think I'll be able to use the ball corner tool, but well, I can try. So let's give it a go. So I'm just going to say extend this surface a little bit. All right, and now I'm going to actually, this one doesn't need to be split anymore. So I'm just going to do this, and let's go ahead and project this one just so that I can trim it. And because I didn't actually copy this curve over here, I'm just going to do this in order to keep the COS over there. All right, so now I'm just going to use the ball corner tool. I'm going to click this one, click these two. I'm going to say go and click this one. I'll just the ball corners. Let's see. Oh, what do you know? It does make it. Well, if that's the case, it actually might be a little bit easier, but I'm not seeing the surface. So I wonder if it built it but didn't do anything with it. It's quite possible. Yeah, I think that's what happened. All right, well, I don't have a surface over here, so that's no good. Okay, so I'm just going to untrim here and untrim here. Now, I could probably use this, but I don't know how good it is, so I'm just going to undo here like this and just leave it as is. All right, so back to this one. I'm just going to untrim, and I'm going to go ahead and just extend this piece over here like this. And what I'm going to do is, well, let's hide these ones for now. I'm just going to do an intersect between this one and this one so that I can create some curves. Now, I probably should have left this one. So I'm just going to strike a curve like this, and I'm just going to snap over here. I'm going to copy and paste, and I'm going to snap it over here. The reason why I'm doing this is I'm just trying to create a rail so that I can intersect these two fillets with it. Okay, so I'm going to say, you can probably try natural, and I think let's just make it a little bit shorter. Do the same thing over here, like this. And let's make it a little bit shorter, like that. All right, so now let's go ahead and get those fillets back. And I'm just going to intersect and trim. So because it's actually a little bit short, well, it's not exactly short, but because it's a little bit on the edge, you probably want to make it a little bit longer, like this. And let's go ahead and do the same thing over here. Just make it a little bit longer. Now the presence of spans doesn't really matter. Okay, so now let's go ahead and intersect over here and intersect over here. Now the reason why I'm doing this is because I want to use trim convert in order to make the surfaces super clean, just a natural edge, and that's going to allow me to create this surface, the ball corner surface, with a little bit more precision and ease. So these ones, I'm just going to go ahead and delete the construction history, hide it, and let's go ahead and trim convert these ones over here. So I'm going to use trim convert here, and I'm going to use trim convert over here. And these originals, I am going to hide it just in case I need it. And let's go ahead and delete the construction history as well. All right, so this fillet, I do need to line it back up, and this should be exactly edge aligned. So I don't think I really need to align it again, but just in case, let's do it. So I'm going to say edge over here, making sure that it's all the way to the end. Doing the same thing over here, edge over here, and going all the way to the end. And actually, you know what? I'm going to, at the same time, increase the position of influence to max, making sure it's a super tight fillet. All right, do the same thing over here. I'm just going to align this one. I'm going to say edge over here, making sure it's all the way through. Do the same thing over here, but this time it's going to be partial, and making sure position influence is set to max. Now position influence, it shouldn't matter, but sometimes it's always a good idea to make sure that it's a super tight, so it's not a bad idea. All right, so it's still curvature over here, which is good, and I'm going to do the same thing over here. So same thing, I'm just going to make sure it's edge, and as you can see over here, there was a slight CV movement, so you just want to make sure that it's all lined up nicely. Okay, same thing here. This one all the way to the edge. Now this one you don't have to make sure it's edge, but you just need to make sure that it's curvature. All right, so delete the construction history over here, and let's check the continue on this one. Hopefully it's curvature and I don't need to do anything. Yes, it is. All right, so now I'm going to strike a curve from here to here because obviously there's no fourth edge. So let's grab this blend curve over here. I'm going to align it here, and I'm going to align it over here. Okay, so now let's go ahead and make sure it's lined up nicely. I'm going to align this one, make sure it's G2. I'm going to align this one, make sure that's G2. And the only thing left to do is build a square. Okay, so let's go ahead and build a square. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. Like this. All right, so the CV structure looks pretty good, but let's go ahead and actually put the continues in and see what happens. Okay, so continue on all sides. So curvature, 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 and looks like it's failing. But let's do collinear and see if that improves it. So boundary 1 will be turned on, boundary 2 will be turned on, boundary 3 will be turned on as well, but it's still failing. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and move to the next step, which is explicit control. And I'm going to say 5 and 5. And it's still failing curvature. So now I got to find out why. Okay, so surface continuity, show max label, show come on. Let's see what's going on. Okay, so it looks like one side is actually failing tangency. So let's go ahead and line that one up first. So I'm just going to align this one over here. Position influence set to max. Okay, so it's failing this side, so I'm going to try aligning this one over here. Okay, so now I got curvature on one side, but it looks like it's failing tangency on both sides. So let's go ahead and see if I can get it a little bit better. This one, I don't know why it's failing over here, but I'm going to align this one. Okay, so it looks like it's a very mixed bag. So I'm going to, let's see. I wonder if I align this one again. Okay, so I got curvature there. Still failing tangency over here. So I'm just going to go around and see if alignment like this helps in any way. So it looks like view. Okay, so I got curvature failure on this side and this side over here. So I'm just going to go ahead and delete the construction history over here. And let's see if I can manually adjust these ones. Now, I'm not quite sure why it's failing so much. Well, let's see if I can do this. Okay, so it looks like going the other way actually helps. Okay, so I got curvature on both sides over there. So hopefully this one, there it is. And it's curvature like that. All right, so the only thing I need to do is I need to check the continuity on this side. Hopefully I don't have to do anything. I'm just going to project here, here, here. Now this one should be a little bit easier to fit just because it's just one surface and everything should line up nicely. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the construction history over here. Looks like there's some kind of COS there, but whatever. And I'm just going to, oh, yep, I already trimmed it. So let's check the continuity over here. I don't know what happened, but oh, there it is. Okay, so it's curvature here. Oh, it's tangent. Okay, so let's see if I can. I'm kind of surprised by that, but since it's tangent, let's see if I can get it to work. And there it is. Well, curvature looks like a little bit pushing it. Okay, so I'm going to delete the construction history over here, and let's check for curvature. Okay, so in this case, I think it might be a little bit difficult. As you can see over here, this is just going up and down like this. Now, I'm still going to give it a try, but I do not have a lot of hope. Well, let's give it a go. Okay, so I'm going to say G2 over here so that at least it's somewhat fitting. And it's just failing tangency on each side. So I'm just going to delete the construction history over here. And because the combs are a little bit small, it's kind of hard to see. So let's go ahead and do this. And I'm just going to pick this CV over here. And I'm just going to manually do some adjustments. Okay, so I got curvature there. And that's the case. I might be able to get curvature here as well. Well, it looks like this side is failing. Oh, there it is. And I got curvature on all sides, and that looks pretty good. All right, so pretty happy with the result. The highlight is flowing really nicely. So I think that's a much better execution. All right, and that is how to put a fillet over fillet in a situation like this. All right, thank you guys for watching, and see you next time. Want to learn Autodesk Alias and digital sculpting? Then become a member at 3ddesignacademy.com, where you'll find hundreds of video tutorials ranging from basics, including curve creations, intermediate level tutorials such as this wheel, all the way to Class A modeling of the entire car exterior. Interested? Visit 3ddesignacademy.com.